teachings, but since we spoke last shiur on the speech, what we're supposed to talk during Shabbat and what we're not supposed to talk during Shabbat. So I went ahead and prepared a nice little preparations for here, and we're going to pause for one class from the cooking and do what we can learn from our talking. There's a beautiful pasuk that tells us that if it's a pasuk is in Yeshaya 58, verse 13, and the pasuk goes as follows: if you're gonna get your foot away from doing your mundane activities in my holy day, says Hashem through the prophets, and you're going to respect, give kavod to that holy day of Shabbos Kodesh, and you're going to respect it from not doing your roads, your ways, your things you do, or from looking at your personal objects and from talking. Then I'm going to give you the infinite light, and you're going to enjoy Shabbos to the ultimate. So from this pasuk we learned 4 things: how we should conduct our heiliger, beautiful, sweet Shabbos. We talk about foot, raglecha. You should keep your foot from doing what you used to do. The pasuk talks about your mundane activities. The pasuk talks about your journeys, your road where you walk. And this pasuk talks about talking. Beautiful. By the way, if we're talking about a prophet, I want to share with you an amazing teaching about prophecy. Remember Aaron Pinchas, Aaron HaKohen's grandson, Pinchas HaKohen. He was a regular person from the desert generation who left Egypt, came into Eretz Israel, specialized in a very special field. Pinchas became specialized in the field of prophecy. Over there back then, they had schools of prophecy. In the time of the prophets, where the Bible talks about the Nach, the Nevi'im, the book of Nevi'im, all the Shmuel Aleph, Shmuel Bet, before just the time of David HaMelech kingdom. So this Pinchas went to study to be a prophet in the school. He became holy, elevated himself. That's how they used to do the prophets. And until they were able to reach such a level that they were able to receive God's talking message to the people from their own mouth. Human beings being born from a regular woman and a father and a man. But the way they would receive prophecy is unique. Since the experience of receiving prophecy is a highlight of God, nobody can bear it unless only those holy people who were able to receive that amazing experience of prophecy. And they would fall on the floor because couldn't hold the light. And Hashem would talk to them through falling on the floor. That's how prophecy were given those days. All the prophets, they fell on the floor and started receiving infinite light from God, and they spoke what Hashem told them to speak. Yeshaya, Jeremiah, Ido Hanavi, Eliyahu Hanavi. So Pinchas changed his name. Pinchas HaKohen, right? Changed his name into Eliyahu, and he is the Elijah the prophet, who was the master of Elisha the prophet, and all that dynasty of prophets. One more thing, one more unique thing about prophecy is that Moshe Rabbeinu was the father of prophets. Here, he could receive prophecy while standing up, just like that, and receiving the prophecy on a peaceful. Moshe Rabbeinu's prophecy was higher than all the prophets. He could say, "This is the thing that Hashem said. I spoke to Hashem. I know," said Moshe Rabbeinu. The other prophets talk about "so shall be," "that will be," but not as direct as Moshe Rabbeinu. So, as we're going back to our Shabbos teaching over here, we're going to learn our foot. The pasuk teaches about our foot. If we prevent our foot from doing the regular way, regular path, that means we should not take shortcuts during Shabbat. Should take the main road and the Derech HaMelech. No shortcuts to mud or people's gardens. There is a way that you can go through people's gardens. For example, I spent many Shabbosim with the Wiseman family in Los Angeles, and over there, if you wouldn't cut through the backyards of the neighbors, you'd have to walk a long circle, about 25 minutes walk. In this case, obviously, the main road is the shortcut. But mainly, if you can prevent yourself from shortcut and walk 5 more minutes, it's more preferable. So that's the foot. And the promise is the highlight of God poured on you if you keep your journey as appropriate during Shabbat. Next thing is, don't do regular thing, chafatzecha. Don't do your work. And that for sure, we're not supposed to do any work. But what happens if you have a field and you want to see what's happening in the field? Well, you want to think about Sunday, you want to prepare for Sunday, but unfortunately, for some people, it's Shabbos today. You can't work. So, but you're going to go to your field. It's in the Eruv. You're not breaking any Eruv, any problem. And you go to your field and you say, "Oh, this plant needs some trimming. Oh, that plant needs some fertilizers. This one needs water. As I'm going to water it right after Shabbos. Motzei Shabbos, I'm going to come back and water you guys." This thing is right. Your Shabbos dik. Are you breaking Shabbos? No, but you're kind of preparing yourself, and that's not kovedik towards Shabbos Kodesh. So therefore, the pasuk in Yeshaya 58, verse 13, Yeshaya 58:13. Go there. Go have a look. Talks about that we should not do your regular, even if you want to go ahead and come to the end of the Eruv, right? It's Shabbos afternoon. In 15 minutes, it's going to be Motzei Shabbos. So you're going to take the cheshbon. Okay, I'm going to walk. I'm away from the border of the Eruv, 15 minutes walk. So I'm going to walk to that border, and right as Shabbos comes out, I'm going to cross the Eruv and go to my business. That's also nothing you're supposed to do, unless you're doing it for something that you're allowed to do on Shabbat anyways. And it is not shown like you hurry up finishing Shabbos already because you want to do your activities on Motzei Shabbat or take the journey on Motzei Shabbat. So you go to the border and you catch a train, which is 5 minutes after Motzei Shabbos. It's you don't do that. We don't do that. That's not something we should not do. Number 3, chafatzecha. If you should keep your mundane, you should keep your regularity, things that you usually do. so chafatzecha means your own, the things that you deal with. Chafetz is a matter. So things that you deal with, matters that you're dealing with. So the Torah, then the prophet Ishaya has given us a great advice straight from Hashem. Hashem talks through the prophet. And the prophet speak only what Hashem tells him to say. So we can count on the prophet 100% as receiving the prophecy from Hashem. That's a phenomenon. Which nation in the world have that messaging system to get messages from God, from Hashem, about our own lifestyle? That's Aleinu leshabeach l'Adon HaKol. We should give thanks to Hashem every day, every night, 24/7. So Hashem advises us that during Shabbos we should not do our matters. So Chazal, our sages of blessed memory, learned your matters, you, Moshe, your matters are not permissible, but to do God's matters, for sure you can do. Therefore, you can run to shul, even though we don't run on Shabbat. Even if it's raining, I'm not saying like you should get wet to your socks, but I don't know. It's up to you. The halacha allows you to run. It's not against halacha, but we're not supposed to run. Yeah, it could be even in halacha. You're not supposed to run on Shabbat. Shabbat is the day of tranquil. And trust me, if you're going to be sacrificing, if you're going to sacrifice a few drops of rain on your head because it's Shabbat and you're not running, I promise you, I think I can promise you that Hashem will make way through the drops of water, of rain, for you to go majesty through the raindrops to get home or to get to shul. But don't quote me for that, okay? So what I'm saying is that we can run for a mitzvah, even on Shabbos, for sure. These are God's matters. These are not personal matters. I should not run to do personal matters. No, I don't have an example right now, but okay. Now about talking. The pasuk also talks about v'daber davar. If you're going to guard your tongue, if you're going to guard your mouth from not talking the wrong things during Shabbat, again the promise goes, Hashem will give you the infinite light, the beauty of beauties, the kedusha unbelievable glory and pleasure. And what is it about talking? And here, Rich, we're going to get to the talking issues. The demand is that our speech during Shabbat will not be the same speech that I use during weekdays. I should change my speech, change the way I speak, change the purposes of my words. It's Shabbos today. It's Shabbos today, Hashem. It's Hashem's Shabbos. It's not my Shabbos. There was an interesting thing. By the time of the Chaim, there was a big factory owner who was working. His factory was working during Shabbos, unfortunately. So Chaim spoke to him about how important Shabbos is. You should keep Shabbos. It's going to be great for you, for the family. Okay. The guy got convinced, and he says, Rabbi, Chaim, Yisrael Meir, I'm going to keep Shabbos. Beautiful. But please do me a favor. I need one more Shabbos to break, right? To take care of the business. It's a big plant, many workers. Give me one more Shabbos, and then I'm all yours. So the Chaim told him something very beautiful. Chaim told him, look, my friend, if Shabbos was mine, trust me, I would have given it to you. You know what? Take this Shabbos and use it for you, and then come to me. But Shabbos is not mine. It's Hashem's. Shabbos belongs to Hashem. So I'm not sure I can give it to you to break it. Even if you're gonna keep Shabbos later on. So the talk, our talkings have to be straightforward, only Shabbos dik. We are allowed to imagine the thought, the speech of doing activities to command somebody to do an activity is not permissible. But we can think about our business affairs in the future. This is allowed. Still, it's a mitzvah not to think your business affairs at all, unless an exception. If you're a very wealthy man and all your businesses are booming and successful, and you have pleasure from thinking about your business. But that building, I sold it for 13 million. Wow, beautiful. That building, that mall, I just give me $500,000 a day. Yeah, good. Not on Shabbos, but weekdays. If that gives you pleasure, you're able, or any other business affairs that you have that are enjoyable to you, those you are able to think about them on Shabbos. But again, it's a mitzvah not to deal with Shabbos. The general rule that deals with talking during Shabbos, what to talk and what not to say on Shabbos, is very simple. It's a very straightforward rule. What you're not supposed to do during Shabbat, you're not supposed to talk about it during Shabbat. Remember, this is number one rule. Klal, zeh klal. Only what is permissible to do on Shabbat, those things I can talk about during Shabbat. Or some part of things that are not dealing with any doing or activities. It's okay. One more thing. Sorrow. Something's going to cause me sorrow, pain, anguish. Is a lack of satisfaction, lack of happiness. Don't talk about it during Shabbos. No. And if somebody comes to you in the shul, in the street, even in your dining room, and start talking to you about things that upset you, you're going to feel upset. It doesn't make you feel happy. You should tell him, my love, my beloved neighbor, uncle, father, mother, friend, wife, husband, I love you dearly. And I also love Shabbos. I'm not saying I love Shabbos more than I love you, but I love you both the same. Shabbos demands from me not to talk about things that upset me. Please do me a favor. Can we talk about it after Shabbat? If the guy says no, okay, do what you wish, do what you want to do, what you think you can do. Also, cheshbonis. If I owe somebody money, if my business transaction is not complete, not fulfilled yet, I still owe $1,000 to the plumber. I don't talk about it on Shabbat. I don't make the cheshbonis even in my head. I don't make the cheshbonis with my wife. You know, we paid the guy, the roofer. We paid the roofer $1,500. We still give him $300. You know, he did a great job. You know, made the lid, but still. So we don't talk about it. An exception here is a cheshbon for mitzvah. If it's a mitzvah associated, we can make cheshbonos calculations during Shabbat. From the same reason, we're allowed to give nedorim by the Torah. You know, we go to the Torah, we go to shul, and the Gabbai says, Yamod Moshe ben Reuven HaKohen. So Moshe ben Reuven HaKohen comes along, he did the Baruch Hu says the laning. As he's concluding the laning, the Gabbai says, he is going to give blessing to Moshe ben Reuven. He's going to give. Moshe, how much are you going to give for the shul? $100 for the shul. worker, and you want to hire him for Motzei Shabbos or for Sunday, and he's right next to you, or he's sitting next to you in shul, and you're going to tell him, you know, you want to have him to work for you for Sunday. So you should not tell him, Moshe, come to me on Motzei Shabbos. I want to talk to you, because everybody knows it's regarding business. But you can tell him, would you like to pay me a visit Motzei Shabbos? Then it's like a par thing. You kind of mingle between the. You see, it's like not a black and white field over here. It's a gray field. Would you come pay me a visit? Even though he knows you're going to hire him for a job for Sunday, still it's a more appropriate way to talk to the worker or the contractor. Something else is a present. You're not supposed to give presents during Shabbat. The Kinyan possession, to have possession of objects on Shabbat is not allowed. You cannot make business or transactions of even of objects to transfer it from my hand to your hand. You lift it up. You purchase it by lifting it up. Shabbos, business are not allowed. So, therefore, you cannot give a present to someone on Shabbat unless this present can be used during Shabbat. Amazing. A bottle of wine, a wine opener, a cork opener, a dish, a tool, whatever it is, that's okay because they're going to use it for Shabbat, even though they're going to use it after Shabbat as well, but it's good. Wow, time is running. We're 20 few minutes. Okay, just going to finish one more thing. Measures, not supposed to measure on Shabbat. And it's a big thing. Perhaps we're going to mention that for next week. Talking to a non-Jew, what to do and what not to do. We're going to talk about it next week. I'm going to jump to a story just before we say goodbye for another week. The story goes, it's a beautiful story about a prisoner in prison. And a rabbi came to. Okay, well, this story took place a few years ago in the United States, when a person who's far from mitzvahs got into jail, and he started to do tshuva in jail. But a special rabbi, a chashuv rabbi, used to visit him once a week, and once every 2 weeks, and he became Baal Tshuva. Okay, one of the times that the rabbi comes to the scene, he sees the prisoner is very, very happy. Says, why are you so? The thing, he says, I just learned, says the prisoner, that if Am Yisrael are going to keep 2 Shabbosim, miyad nigalim, Geula is going to come along, 2 Shabbosim. So I'm so happy. I kept Shabbos, and I'm going to keep the next Shabbos for sure. And I'm going to tell you, Rabbi, I'm going to be out of prison right after Shabbos. The Rav says, no, I'm very sorry to disappoint you, Mr. Prisoner, but this talk is referring to the redemption of Am Yisrael, the general Geula of Mashiach, not for you. You, my friend, have many, many more years to go and sit in prison. This is don't be imaginary with your thoughts that your Yeshua is coming very soon. But the guy says, Rabbi, I never saw in any place that Chazal spoke only about the general redemption or the personal redemption. For sure, trust me, I know, it's also for the personal guy. That's going to be, and he stayed happy and unbelievably joyful because he's going to get out of prison right after next Shabbos. Okay, 2 weeks later, the rabbi comes to the prison again, and surely enough, the guy is not there. He got released from prison. So he asked, where is the Mr. Prisoner? They told him he was released just a few days ago, right after Shabbos. He says, how come? What happened? The guy was supposed to stay in jail for a few years, good years. So this miracle, the rabbi investigated how did this thing happen. He says the judge that gave him the penalty of 15 years in jail got old and stopped his work at the court. So he decided, let me write my memories, my previous work, my previous decisions that I made in court. Maybe, let's see what happens. So this judge went out of, left, he retired, and he went through all these court cases and all these law issues in the past. And when he get to that guy, this judge have a feeling. I remember the case very clear, but it seems to me that the witnesses were not so sharp and not strong, and the proof for his being guilty, there might be a mistake over here, my mistake. So the judge contacted the authorities and says to them what he thinks, that he might have been mistaken, and and they took him out of jail. So we see from this story that when a person is happy, is joyful, lebedik, during Shabbos, and he believes in the great kedusha, sanctity, holiness of Shabbos, and he counts on the powerful power of Shabbos, Shabbos protects him to save him from any evil. So here we go again. Good Shabbos, everyone. Thanks again, and sorry for being late. Next week, once again, we're going to see you all happily and joyfully.